Need to solve something in algebra and you don't know how to solve? SADME. We're going to take a look at how to use the SADME method to solve any algebra problem. Really, we're looking at Pemdas backwards, but we're not going to look at the P. We don't want to be SADME. SADME, I have to solve things. So when we're solving in algebra, we have a one-step equation, and we always do opposites. So the opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. And we have to do it to both sides of the equal sign. So x equals 1. If it was x minus 2, we need to do the opposite of minus 2, or plus 2 to both sides. X equals 5 plus 2 is 7. So the reason we add the opposite is because 3 minus 3 cancels. The same is true for 2 times x. We shouldn't say 2x, we should say 2 times x. 2 times x equals 4. So how do we get x? We always do opposites. When we solve, we always solve with opposites. So, what if I see this? Oh my god, a fraction. Well, it's not a fraction. It's saying x divided by 3. This means divided by. So let's do the opposite. Let's times or multiply it by 3. 3 divided by 3 cancels. X equals 4 times 3, or 12. So that's a couple things before we get to SADME. When you look at this equation, it means 2 times. There's an invisible times. When we look at this equation, it's a dividing problem. It's x divided by 3. Teachers, stop saying over 3. No, that doesn't mean x over 3. It's x divided by 3. If we want our kids to remember what to do, we need to say we're dividing, so we multiply to get rid of it. So let's get to SADME. I have an equation, and I don't know how to solve it. SADME. We're going to use Pemdas backwards. We're going to add and subtract first. So we see adding and subtracting is these two, 2x, 2 times x minus 2. So we're going to try to get rid of it by doing opposites. So what's the opposite of subtracting 2? We add 2. So let's add 2 to both sides. 2x now equals 12. Now 2 times x equals 12 has an opposite. The opposite of 2 times x is to divide. Notice we did the adding and subtracting first. Now we're doing the multiplying and dividing. So x equals 6. Let's try another one. I don't know how to solve this. SADME. Well, let's do the adding and subtracting first. X divided by 3 minus 4. Let's work with the minus 4. Let's add 4. X divided by 3 equals 14. Now let's look at the multiplying and dividing. X divided by 3. What's the opposite? Times. Let's multiply both. So 3 times x, but divided by 3 cancels. Sad me is now happy me. I was able to solve it. So when we're calculating something like this, we use Pemdas. But when we're solving, we do Pemdas backwards. Sad me. Let's look at another one. So maybe we get a little more complicated. Well, in this case, we have one extra step. Then we look at SADME. So let's look at the adding and subtracting and see, are there any terms we can add together or collect like terms? 2x plus 3x are alike. They're both x values. 2 times x and 3 times x means we have 5 times x. Minus 4 equals 21. Now let's look, is there any more adding and subtracting? Oh, there's a minus 4. So let's add 4 to both sides. 5x equals 25. SADME. Now let's check, is there any dividing or multiplying? 5 times x has an opposite. Opposite is dividing by 5. X equals 25 divided by 5, which is 5. Sad me is now happy me. So this is my SADME method. This works with other things, even in Algebra 2, when you're dealing with something like this. So we have an exponent now, SADME. So what do I do first? Well, I deal with the adding and subtracting. 2 times x squared minus 1. So let's get rid of this by adding 1. 2x squared equals 32. Wow, what's the opposite of 2 times? To divide. X squared equals 16. I did my multiplying and dividing now. Is there anything left? There's an exponent. The opposite of squared is square root. When you get to that, you'll be able to use the same method. Even in things with sine and cosine and tangent, as you get into geometry and trigonometry, you could have something like 2 sine of x equals, oh, let's do plus 4 equals 5. This is a plus. We're going to do the same things. We work with opposites. Subtract 4, subtract 4. 2 times sine of x equals 1. Now we deal with the times. Divide both sides. Sine of x equals 1/2. Well, what's the opposite of sine of x? We learned it's the inverse sine. So we could use the SADME method even in higher math. We always do the adding and subtracting. Then we deal with the multiplying and dividing. Then we deal with exponents. Sad me is a happy me. Because now I know how to solve.